if you were trying to make a Roald Dahl scene between Willy Wonka and the Oompa Loompa for the first time, I just felt we really captured what he would have done. And I could be wrong, but I felt that the spirit of Dahl smiling down on me.
Paul, as soon as I knew that you were on board for Wonka, I knew that we were in good hands. I knew that I was going to see something magical and something I absolutely loved, and you did not disappoint. This version of Wonka is phenomenal. As the creative force behind Wonka, how did you balance the whimsical legacy of Roald Dahl with your unique vision to resonate with old and new fans alike?
Well, thank you. That's the nicest question I'll have all day. Well, it was really, it's a book I grew up loving, and I think it kind of had a deeper impact on me than I even realized as a kid. I mean, I had this old 1980s copy that I read so often the pages fell out, and when David Heyman, the producer, mentioned the idea of doing a Willy Wonka movie, I kind of went back to it because I felt a little apprehensive because
Sure.
the sort of origin story prequel, you're sort of treading in the footsteps of giants. And I kind of remembered Willy Wonka and the Factory and the Oompa Loompas and all the larger-than-life kind of comedy, but I'd forgotten how much kind of deep emotion there is in the book. And it's really kind of this almost Dickensian story of this poor little suffering kid who ends up inheriting the chocolate factory. And I was in pieces by the end. And I kind of really went, oh, that's what I've been trying to do in Paddington. But I hadn't quite realized, because you go, it's all the funnies, it's all the heart, and you put them together. And that's what Dahl's so great at. And I was like, oh, well, I get to play with all your ideas. I can't resist.
Timothée Chalamet is phenomenal as Wonka. I feel like he disappears into the role. What about Timothée Chalamet is Wonka-esque, and what did he bring to the role that wasn't on the page?
Well, I think that's exactly what he does. I couldn't have put it better. He disappears into these characters, and that's why he's such a phenomenal actor that you stop seeing him as Timothée Chalamet doing a performance. You just feel that's Willy Wonka. That's what I felt every day with him. I think what he did that was so brilliant from my point of view was he can deliver all the laughs, and he can do all the sort of eccentricity and the strangeness of Willy Wonka, but there's such a truth to what he does. You don't feel he's like doing an act.
Sure.
You feel that's just the character, and he makes this entirely believable three-dimensional character out of a crazy chocolate maker, and I don't know how he does it. You believe in his eyes.
Yes.
It's all there every second.
I don't think I smiled throughout a movie more than I have in Wonka the whole year. And I love the Chocolate Cartel. What are the Chocolate Cartel? Can you talk about what inspired the over-the-top characterizations, and how did you envision their contributions to add to the humor into the film?
Well, there's these little clues that we were always trying to follow in the book and try and dig out of the book. And Dahl mentions Slugworth, Fickelgruber, and Prodnose as these rival chocolate makers that Willy Wonka's had in his past. And we love the idea of building them into a sort of chocolate cartel, like a group
Sure.
of evil businessmen, like kind of Boggis, Bunce, and Bean, I guess, in Fantastic Mr. Fox. And we sort of wanted them each to be a sort of different aspect of greed, because greed's the kind of great sin in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. So you got Slugworth, who believes that business is the most important thing in the world, and he's got Joseph's got the most extraordinary booming voice, which is just delicious. And then you've got Matthew Bainton playing Fickelgruber, who's very vain and sort of like sort of thin, and you feel he's very sort of everything's pristine. He's all about the clothes. And then you've got Prodnose, who is not the sharpest knife in the block, but he wants to be part of this gang, and he would do anything to be part of it. So they've all got their own vanities, and they're great together.
They're absolutely phenomenal together. Now, every director has a scene that they hold special in their heart. Which in Wonka was the most fulfilling for you to shoot, and why?
Well, I think the scene I most loved shooting was the scene with Scrubbert and Bleacher, where Timothy first comes into their shop, because I just love all the kind of the different ways they bounced off each other. But I think my favorite scene in the finished movie is the one between Willy and the Oompa Loompa when
Yes.
he's trapped him in the jar, because I just felt if you were trying to make a Roald Dahl scene between Willy Wonka and the Oompa Loompa for the first time, I just felt we really captured what he would have done. And I could be wrong, but I felt that the spirit of Dahl smiling down on me.
Absolutely incredible scene. I actually want to ask about Hugh Grant playing the Oompa Loompa. He is absolutely incredible. Can you talk about working with Hugh to kind of craft his performance?
Well, been lucky enough to work with Hugh on Paddington 2, and I knew that for a man who's been a heartthrob for as much of his life as he has zero vanity whatsoever. And there was a scene in Paddington 2 where we had him in a dog costume eating dog food. And you go, if you're prepared to do that, I think you might be prepared to be shrunk down to 18 inches and painted orange and with a green wig. So I knew that he could really go for it. But what drove the choice was the voice of the Oompa Loompas that we've heard in song a little bit, but really they don't have any dialogue in the books or the movies, but they do have these long poems in the book, and they're so sarcastic and funny and scornful and biting. And I just read them and heard Hugh's voice in my head, and I couldn't shake it.
Well, that's incredible. Well, look, Paul, thank you so much for your time. I think Wonka is the perfect holiday movie. And look, Paddington 2 is my favorite movie of all time, so thank you.
Oh,
just wanted to say thank you.